Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
East Tennessee Group and our second podcast. What about we talk about the market?
Let's do it.
Anybody have any feedback on what's going on? Let's maybe share that with everybody.
Aside from the fact that it's still hot,
How hot is it, Austin?
it's pretty hot. I think
Yeah.
Karen even had something the other day, putting an offer in on it and multiple offers, and
So, and know that, of course, probably 95% of my business is short-term rentals, overnight rental cabins. So that's really the market that I'm most in tune with. Yes, it is. It is very hot. There is definitely an inventory shortage still. And I hate to say those words because we've been saying them for a year, but it is still the case, definitely. And I'm talking kind of Gatlinburg, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge areas. Definitely an inventory shortage and a lot of very interested buyers. This is a fantastic area to invest, not just to cover your mortgage, but to actually earn some passive income. We all want passive income, right? So, me included. So, definitely, and what that means is that people are earning great money on their investments. So, most people that have overnight rentals are hanging on to them because they're earning money. There's the park, Great Smoky Mountains National Park, had record visitors again. Last year, it was still, third year in a row, the number one most visited national park. What that means is people are coming here, so rentals are doing well. So there's not a lot of cabins on the market, to say. Mm-hmm. We are definitely building. That's something that we could talk a little bit about possibly as well. But so not a lot on the market. People are definitely more and more in tune with this area as an investment opportunity. The Myrtle Beach and down in Florida, I feel like there's a lot of investors that I'm working with that are pulling their money out of those markets because the mountains is a year-round destination. Yeah. So,
and I think we've seen that it's hard to knock that down. I mean, even through the pandemic, our numbers have soared, and I think that's one thing that people do see is this place is so accessible that no matter really what happens with the economy, people are still going to want to go on vacations, and this is a perfect spot to come.
Exactly. So what that means is competition when cabins come on the market is very high. So Austin mentioned that I had something happen recently, and what actually happened was we submitted an offer. And the offer we submitted was actually $60,000 over the asking price, which sounds crazy, but is the norm. And the reality is that some properties are purposefully being listed under value. Also, some people are willing to pay way over value because it's that rental income that's driving the prices.
It makes sense.
Regardless of if it's $600 a square foot, if it's making the rental, people are willing to pay for it. So I had a situation, $60,000. We went in all cash. So and this was in the $800,000 price point. So $60,000 in an $800,000 cash deal, and we were beaten.
And what drives me nuts more, I'm thinking more now from the residential side, but when we hear things like the bubble, the crash.
Yeah.
And this is what I say, I love to educate my clients, and I like to do that before we go out and see homes. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they're mad at you because they didn't win an offer for 60 grand over. But we're not in a bubble. We've got baby boomers who are aging in place, and we've got millennials who have their big girl and big boy jobs and their promotions, and they are now credit worthy and they are income worthy. So what you have is you've got this squeeze on the market. If your baby boomers are living longer and aging in place, they're not selling, and then you've got this influx of millennials ready to buy. Well, what's happening? That is squeezing the rest of us. And I think,
Yes.
in the Knoxville side, I think we've got 1,600 homes on the market, for the region, whereas maybe 4 years ago we had something like 4,000. So a lot of that is because you've got your baby boomers and you got your millennials, and it's just squeezing everybody. And I think that offers having that conversation with your clients before you unlock a door for them.
Yes.
Okay, guys, just I want you to be, because if you don't have that education piece, woo, the buyers can get upset. Has anybody had a buyer upset? Even when I have the conversation, they're upset.
Still, yes. And I mean, they get scared to do things in this market, which I think is something that we as agents really bring, because having that conversation up front, letting them know where the market is, but also educating them on how to make a good yet very strong offer.
So, and everybody's strong is different. Some clients are like, oh, I'm willing to waive inspection. And then you as an agent have to kind of, okay, let's talk about this, or let's, okay, is this in your best interest? So it's don't y'all think it's a juggling act even then?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and definitely it's very important that you get to know your client. When I'm talking to people the first time, we're having a real conversation. I'm not pitching, I'm not giving them a sales pitch. I'm talking to them about what is happening in the market and really asking questions from them so that I can learn more about them. You talk about waiving inspections. Well, that's great for some clients who maybe have a background in building, or are contractors who can walk through the house and know
an eyeball.
Yes. And are confident that they can take on anything that comes up after the sale. Other clients absolutely need to have a home that is move-in ready. They're not going to be able to take care of repairs and things like that. So really getting to know your client, again, that conversation up front is so important. And I think a lot of agents kind of skip past that in the haste to open that first door. Then you got to recover from that after the fact. Definitely educating, having those real conversations up front is very, very important.
And I feel like a lot of times when you have those conversations, and I'm thinking about my own business, and I'm thinking about, this month alone, I've had a buyer just completely say, it's been great. We're out, because it's exhausting for buyers right now, even though you're having the conversation. And the under 350 price point, residentially speaking, and on the Knoxville side, it's just ridiculous. As far as you've got multiple offers, you've got list agents who are inundated with offers to present to their clients. And then your buyer is, let's say at a 300 price point going 10% over, which is so much to them in their pocketbooks. And it's a lot to any of us, but you've got maybe a first time buyer, or, someone who's kind of just starting out, and it's so tough. And I've had buyers actually just say, we can't do this right now. We're gonna save up some money. And then there's the education piece about, okay, cool. And interest rates are maybe expected to rise a little bit this year. So then you got to help them understand that. Okay, if you wait, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be lots and lots more, buyers in the market when it's spring and it's nice. If you can roll the windows down, here come the buyers, right? And then the interest rates are going up. You get less house for more money.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
I think it's just...
And I think people keep waiting for a shift or something to happen in the market. And I mean, as we can see with what January is already doing, it's just not coming.
Right.
I talk on an average of 10 to 15 people a week that's transferring from West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
So that's happening.
Yes, that is happening. Right.
So not only do we have the clientele that's aging in place, and then the young professionals that are trying to purchase, we have an influx of, I think the news article that we read was 9 a day on average that is transferring from West Coast to Tennessee because of the taxes, and a lot of people can work remotely.
Right. I think that whole working remotely has just changed the face of real estate. Absolutely. Because so many people can do that. And so, if you can buy a house in the mountains because that's where you want to be, instead of being in the city and still do the same job
and pay fewer taxes.
and pay lower taxes.
Who doesn't hear that from their California buyers?
Yes, all the time.
So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and no income tax. So
there's that.
And so we, when that was helpful when you dropped that in the chat, because I'm working with an investor, and I hate to say this, but it does work on your ego a little bit when you lose out on 6 offers. And I've become creative, because it used to be a little bit above asking. Well, that's no longer work. Well, now it's a little bit above asking plus waiving inspection. Well, that doesn't work. Then it's an escalation clause, and then there's an appraisal gap. All that, and we've even gone to saying we'll pay sellers closing, and still losing out because we're losing out on cash every time. So my client's like, where is this cash coming from? And that's what we're up against.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the sellers for just a quick second. You've got people that are like, I'm just going to wait. Okay, let me help you understand what's going to happen if you wait. If you wait till you can, like I said, roll the windows down and everybody else is listing their house, what do you think that's going to do for the interest and intrigue on yours? Yes. Do y'all see? I mean, now is the best time to list because of all these buyers we've got.
Yes, absolutely. And like you had mentioned, there is a possibility of interest rates going up. That is going to affect things. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. It always does. But yes, you're exactly right. Get your property out there. If you want to sell, get it out there, get it on the market, get it in front of as many people as you possibly can. One of the great things that I love about this area, the Tennessee Valley, and I've lived in 3 different countries as an adult. So this local area here, it's a beautiful part of the country. Absolutely. A beautiful part of the country. I understand why people want to move here from West Coast, from New York. So many people are not from here. And so it's a great environment to move into. But what that means is you've got to get your house out there, because there are so many people that do want to do that do want to make that change, that are looking at this area for all of the reasons and more that we've mentioned. So yes, absolutely. I agree.
And listing your house now, so January versus say an April. Yeah. I mean, nobody here has a crystal ball.
I know that's what we always say.
But wouldn't you think, because more people are going to be listing when it's nice and kind of warm outside, wouldn't you think that demand will be so much higher, and that would translate hopefully to more money?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's a huge education piece, I think, too, with the sellers right now. And that's what we're seeing. You might see somebody who initially wants to wait. We're just going to wait. And then you actually have to have that education, that discussion about why would you?
I also feel like this area is less subject to the seasonal market. Definitely when we're talking the overnight rental market, we don't see that really big influx, early, really now, like you say, once you come right down the winter, we don't see that big influx. We don't see people taking their properties off the market in the winter. It's year-round for the overnight rental market because the people are coming, vacationers are coming year-round. So it doesn't matter what time of year it is. We really don't see those big undulations. And I think that also translates into the residential market in Sevier County and in Knoxville, the same thing. The area just seems to be less subject to that. I started off in real estate in just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And there were huge swings in the market depending on the season. Because there'd be, 3 foot of snow on the ground. So people were not thinking about, their next house. They were not looking at putting their house on the market. We just don't see that here. Our climate is beautiful. Our seasons are amazing. And so, do it now. You're going to do it. Do it now for sure.
What would each of us tell a buyer? One thing you could tell a buyer, one thing you could tell a seller. What would you guys, right now, what would you tell them?
Goodness gracious, there's so many things to tell them. So definitely the time is now.
Yes.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
For buyers or
The time is
sellers?
now.
Sellers.
To be honest, for both.
Both, yeah.
I think the
Run, don't
time
walk.
is now for both. The market's hot. Sellers are, let's get it on the market. People are looking. Let's do it now. For buyers, it's kind of the same thing. We don't know what you're going to be able to get. What are interest rates going to do? We don't know what's going to happen in the spring. Now's the time to do it.
And get your ducks in a row for the buyers.
Yes.
Be prepared. I mean, because we've all seen every different angle of how things can go wrong. That's just another reason the agent, have that conversation and make sure that those ducks are in a row. And when that property comes up, it's no questions asked and we can really go after it.
Yes, I love that. Yes, that whole do your homework.
Yes.
Get pre-approved. If you're paying cash, get your proof of funds, whatever it is that you need to put that offer in. And I'm sure you guys are all having that conversation up front. When you first talk to that client, they need to know that information is going to win them the offer.
Yes.
Lack thereof, and they're out in the cold. I from personal experience working with sellers, when we got multiple offers, and this was just recently, the offers that did not come with a pre-approval letter, they just said, we're not even looking at it. We're not entertaining it. If the buyer hasn't done that homework, we're not going to look at that offer because we don't know how serious they are. And when there's 5 offers on the table, they don't need to. That seller is looking to sell. They're not looking to go under contract. They want to sell.
Yeah.
So they're going to go with the offer that is most likely to close. And that's the one that's done their homework.
Sheree, what would you tell them?
I would say, and I hate to say this, but gone are the days where asking is asking.
That's true.
That's just
It's a suggestion. I heard on a podcast.
Yeah.
It's a suggestion.
What is this property worth to you? You're going to have to walk into each property that you want to make an offer on with that mindset. I strongly believe that if everything happens for a reason. So, it is discouraging when you lose out on certain offers and you think you're as creative as can be. And another thing I've started to hear where I didn't think this mattered as a newer agent. So one of the agents called me back, is like, we didn't win that offer. It was merely because of cash offer, but we wanted to go with yours because you had the strongest earnest money. Whereas before it's like, nobody's ever mentioned that. That's never been a factor. But that showed how serious we were.
Right.
So now that is a factor. So now I pay attention to that line item.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I think what I would tell either a buyer or seller is to find yourself an agent who is knowledgeable, who is working their business as a full-time business, and who is very communicative. So that would be my advice to a buyer or a seller, and here's why. Because when I show somebody a property, I'm in the car on the phone. I've probably already been on the phone or texting with the list agent, and I'm building rapport because I know that if I can do anything, I can build a relationship. And if it gives my client a slight advantage, then I'm going to bat for them all day long. So my advice is find yourself an agent who is communicative, who is knowledgeable, and who is willing to tell you stuff even that sometimes you may not want to hear, but that is accurate and very very informative. Because if you have an agent who's just fluff and filler, it's going to be so frustrating, and you're going to miss out time after time after time.
Yes.
No, and I love that, having that relationship, because when the other agent knows that, they've got a rapport with you, they know who you are and what you've done with them in the past and things. I mean, they know when you send something to them, it's legit and serious.
Yeah, and it may not. So I've even done deals where I call the list agent. My client is super interested in this property, and I will ask them, hey, we're thinking about coming in over. Do you have any fear about appraisal? Of course, we're not appraisers, but I build that rapport. And at my client's discretion, I'm allowed to, reveal that they're a veteran. And it just so happened that the list agent was a veteran. And she was like, this is great. I think my client's going to really love it. Didn't work out because they got a really sensational offer. But you know what? It did work out. I had a connection the next time she listed a house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, you can't win them all, but what you can do is be communicative and very forward thinking for your clients.
And I would say, you were saying, what would you tell, your buyers and sellers, maybe something kind of what you're talking about as agents. You know, what should we be doing as an agent to stand out, to, you know, be better, to be the agents that are winning those offers? And you're right, it's the education, it's the building relationships. You know, I've been working in the Sevierville market now for 5 years. So there are agents in this area that call me and ask me, do I have anything coming up? Or that may call me and say, hey, Karen, I've got a cabin that's going to go on the market. Just wanted to let you know it's going on the market tomorrow, because we've done transactions successfully together in the past. So yes, as an agent, build those relationships with other agents as well. It will give your clients the benefit when you as an agent have a fantastic reputation as being an agent that is great to work with.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're doing.
And you got to be communicative with them.
Yes.
Do I respond at 10:30 at night when they text me? Absolutely not, because I've trained them not to text me at 10:30 at night. I take your family time seriously. You take mine seriously. Right. But we have a mutual respect, and we understand. Soon as it's 7:30 in the morning, I'm on it for you, and I'm going to be that agent that's going to take it, as far as communication goes, to the next level. So I believe you have to set boundaries with clients, obviously, but I also believe that you have to be able to respond to them and get now, of course, if it's a question or a fire, you handle it. But when the client understands that you are the agent that they can count on for anything. I've got a client moving here from South Carolina. Last night I was like, just preemptively, I was like, hey, you're going to need the best hair squad when you get here. So what did I do? I sent her the name of the girl who does my color, the girl who does my cut, and then I text both of them, and just so you know, I've got your new client coming. And she's like, oh my God. She said, hey, by the way, my movers here are charging a fortune, like $15,000. Do you have anybody? Actually, I do. I've got a moving company who's moving another set of clients from here to North Carolina that I'm selling their home for. So he would likely move you from South Carolina to here. She was blown away. Blown away.
Yes.
So do you bring extra value? And do your clients, once they figure out that you're that value add, they are loyal for life. For example, one last thing and then I'll shut up. The client that I just told you was moving from here to North Carolina, I just sold them the home that they're in May. And they really tried, they left the beach in North Carolina to come here, and they really tried the Knoxville thing, and they just missed their friends at the beach. So within 8 months, I did a buy transaction for them and now a list transaction for them. Yes. And they know that I'm their connection for all things, not even real estate. Not even
just all things Knoxville.
Yes. So I feel like once your clients figure that out, there's no other. And even if they're in North Carolina and want to buy in North Carolina down the road, they're going to call me and say, "Hey, do you know anybody in this area?"
Yes.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, just to tie back on to, not just what you can do for your client, but building that rapport with those agents. And it has helped me, even though we're talking about it's so money driven, I was able to win an offer. We weren't the strongest offer, but we won the offer because she wanted somebody that would have an emotional attachment to the house. Mm-hmm. And because she's done a deal with me in the past, she knows I take care of my clients big time, and that their best interest is at heart. So that helped because she wanted somebody that truly cared about the property. And by knowing me, we were able to win that offer, and it wasn't always money.
Yes.
Wow.
So that helped.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, guys, I think it's been an invaluable episode, hopefully for those people who are listening to us.
Yes, in our second podcast.
I know. How fun. How fun. Well, thank you guys for hanging out, and it's been great. We'll do another one soon.
Perfect. Yeah,
Sounds
looking
good.
forward to it.
East Tennessee group. We have agents again in Sevierville, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge,
all over
Maryville, West Knoxville, North Knoxville. We're close to everything but miles from ordinary.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Love that.